guys, and welcome to another day with Zimaleta. I made a live stream yesterday, and I kind of decided to make a little update. This is shortly after the live stream actually has posted. Decided to record this video. I'm thinking, man, I have talked a lot, but I don't know if I have said the main things or to actually have some kind of solution out of this, because I don't want everybody to think that somehow I'm showing off that I bought a place or this or that or the other thing, because you could clearly see that was not the topic of that video. But I do want to say something like this. Most of us, we get a mortgage, and I'm going to make this a little example. When my dad bought a place in Valentine, he had $3,700 mortgage payment, okay? He lost it in 4 years, but as he was making those payments, $3,700, just think a little bit. For 4 years, he's paid in $177,600 for that type of a home. Okay, why does that matter? That's only in 4 years. That's only 4 years because he wanted to buy that, that place. Now, of course, he bought himself a piece of land for $51,500. 4 acres, does not have a home on it. He's going to build something on it. Imagine if instead of making payments for that house, he saved that money the next 4 years. And actually, that was a while, but he bought it in 2004, that place. So that means by 2008, he lost it, obviously, the housing market crisis. And so he paid in so much money. Imagine if he just saved that money, then bought himself a piece of property. Then maybe he could buy himself, I don't know, a double wide, single wide, something quick if he wanted to have something quick, or go ahead and build in the property. He would have all that money to build with. Instead, he didn't do that. He just basically made mortgage payments. Not only that, when he purchased that property, he still had another property left over. That was like his second property he purchased, and the next 3 years he could not sell his other property, so he's paying like a $700 mortgage on another property that he bought for $90,000, guys. For $90,000. My parents still regret ever selling that home, because they sold it for I think $159,000. It was in a good location. It had almost an acre of land on it. My dad is a beekeeper. He had his bees there. They would always bring him honey. And that was actually the best location he ever put his bees at. Now he takes them all over the country, sometimes to New York and Florida, so you could have honey and stuff like that. Maybe now he won't have to, since he's going to be in the mountains. He just probably put his bees there. He'd probably be okay. But that property, he only had purchased it for $90,000. And he ended up making mortgage payments on it while spending $3,700 payments on that other place and paying off $177,000. So imagine that the other 3 years of $700 that I did not even calculate. He would have paid for 2 houses in that time. And this is kind of the thing that I wanted to kind of point out to you guys, because I know you might be saying some of you guys maybe watch and say, hey, I can't afford to buy a place right now, because stuff is more expensive, and I don't have that kind of cash sitting aside. I have no choice but to pay my mortgage and stuff like that. Okay, I know you're kind of saying that, but if you use this kind of this little example as an information source, you're instead of actually paying mortgage, $3,700, just pretend you have that mortgage. Just pretend maybe you have a mortgage right now. Pretend your mortgage is real higher than it is, and hopefully you're still young enough. I mean, you could be in your 50s. You're still going to be okay, but now really work hard. Just work hard for the next 4 years, and instead of paying it off as a mortgage, actually you can be paying it off, and maybe you'll have a place that's paid off actually a lot quicker. Because my dad had a $90,000 house and a $375,000 house, which was actually a $500,000 house, but he bought it as a bank foreclosure, and I guess lost it to the bank. So I guess it was lost to the bank twice. Once by somebody else, once by my dad. And if you think about it, you could actually pay your place off, the one you currently have. Let's say it's $90,000 place, even $100,000 place, even $150,000 place. It's not so bad by pretending you have a bigger mortgage than it really is. But I would not actually advise you just to spend that money, just pay for the house. Don't do that, because cash is king. I'll say just stick it in a bank or something. I know, even though like a lot of millionaires and stuff, they think savers are losers. But I think with everybody pretty much in America, like not having any savings. Maybe savings is not such a loser. Maybe it's a good thing to save. Maybe just put that money in the bank, because what if it doesn't work out and you cannot pay for the house? I mean, if you cannot continue that same rhythm of paying that much money to the bank. I know you don't have to, but you were paying it just so you could pay it off quicker, and you'll still have that money in the house. What if something happens to your job and you can't do that? Now you need that extra money and you don't have an emergency fund. So it would be a lot better to just stick that money in the bank, put it in a savings account, put it somewhere, maybe whatever account that maybe interest rate is actually growing on it, you know, whatever. Something you can still have access to if you need it, you know. But the whole idea behind it is do that for as many years as it takes, 4, 5 years, 6, maybe more. Don't do it for 30, maybe do it for the next 10 years. Just keep saving that money so you could actually have a place you could afford. Because if you don't have a place of your own yet, then my recommendation is just work real hard to try to get it. Also, I want to talk about 15-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage. If you got to get a mortgage, get a 30 years. Do not get a 15. I just know somebody, real successful guy. Well, I don't know if I could call him successful, but highly educated, has a really high profession, you know, job that pays him $150,000 a year, you know, working for some kind of company. This person, he had a really expensive house as well, and he had it financed for 30 years, and then he refinanced it for 15 years, but then he got into some debt. He was not able to maintain the 15-year mortgage because it's more expensive now. Now he refinanced again back to 30 years. So every time you refinance, you're like losing money. So why would you even finance it for 15 years? What if things happen, you cannot actually afford to pay the mortgage, you know, because it's higher mortgage now? At least if you have a 30-year mortgage, you can pretend that you got a 15-year mortgage, pay more. If you want to pay more, pay more. But at least if your job situation, you know, declines and you cannot maintain that same, you know, type of payment, you could just stop, just pay a normal amount, you know. At least you would have paid in and you would have some money there. But I know things have changed a lot, and you just simply can't pay the mortgage company more money. It used to be, maybe it's still existent, I don't know, a little bit confused by it because I don't do that. It used to be that you could like send in your mortgage payment and then you could like send in a second check with extra money and say, hey, that's for principal only. But that might not work. Maybe it will, because that would need to be amortization plan. If you don't have amortization, then it's not going to really work for you. But anyways, check with some kind of like professional on that, because I'm not one, you know, to try to give you that advice. Because, you know, it used to be that you can do that. Maybe now you can't. I don't know. But if you can't do that, then just simply save that money. And if your home has appreciated, you know, and it's more of a home that you need, maybe your kids have grown out, you don't need such a big home, maybe sell it while it's a bubble. That way you could get all that money out. And then, I don't want to say like, you know, buy in the country, but man, I want to say that, you know. So buy a place there, you know, get better fresh air and stuff like that. But maybe your job is not like mine. It does not take you all over the place. Maybe you can't afford that, because now if you're going to buy in the country like my dad did, I mean, he really bought it in the country. Like really. He only has one supermarket, and it's Piggly Wiggly. Just one 1 mile away, but just one. There's nothing else. That means there's no more jobs. So, I mean, my dad's a truck driver, so he's going to maintain that lifestyle. But if you're an office worker, then yeah, you can't really do that. But you can move like 37 miles away. Like I have moved 37 miles away from Charlotte, and it's an hour drive to Charlotte. That 37 miles seems like it's real little, but it takes 1 hour to drive, and not even in traffic, just hitting all the lights, stuff like that. So that could be a different situation, not a situation for everybody. But if somebody like, for instance, and I don't want to say like real estate investor, because of that, by that point, man, you already know what to do. But if you got to go to work every day, yeah, then you really have like no choice but to live closer to your job. The closer the better, maybe like within like a walking distance. But I don't know, like if it's worth it for somebody, you know, to work like that. Maybe they have a higher education and stuff, they paid in it, now it's kind of like impossible to change. But I guess for somebody that's maybe like a healthcare professional, there's hospitals pretty much everywhere, you would probably like pretty good. But anyways, as far as job situation, I don't even want to like really get into it, because you know, my mentality is to try to work less if you can afford to. I mean, I'm not saying like be like lazy and stuff, but if you could afford to work less so you could enjoy your life a little more, or work a reasonable amount, like not like a workaholic, that way you could enjoy your family if you have one. But some people enjoy their work. I remember when I used to just have a normal job. I worked a bunch of different jobs, but one of them, I used to be a certified nurse's assistant, and I would pull a bunch of overtime. I was working like 90 hours a week for 3 different companies at the same time. And I was like, man, I'm glad that I'm at work. What would I do if I would not be at work right now? I would probably be home sleeping, you know, but I'm early in the morning, I'm at work, and I'm pretty happy with it. So that was the way I used to think then. Maybe I will still continue to think like that. But, you know, things have changed. After I started expediting and just driving alone, you realize it's like, hey, I could have my cell phone with me. Nobody's telling me I cannot bring my cell phone to work. I could make calls right now to people. I could listen to radio. I could watch a movie. It sort of feels like when you're driving, you have the freedom to do that. Like, nobody's breathing down your neck. You're just sort of like sitting down, you're driving, you enjoy, and you get to see the countryside, you know, a bunch of positives about that, you know. But the game completely changes. It's like when you're like, I got this mortgage payment, I got a van payment, I got a really expensive insurance payment now, and I have all these other payments, and you're like thinking, I got no choice but to work. And then when you're driving, you're like so like in the mindset, like I gotta pay all these things, that you're not really enjoying what you're looking at. You're not enjoying these things. You're taking that stuff for granted because your mind is close to that. It's not creative. The creative portion of it is shut down. And I know that firsthand because I was there. I worked like that for 12 years. But ever since I worked really hard, because I actually had to really work hard, because all the money that I was making, and I was still trying to, you know, be with my family here and there, but I was working extra hard to try to save up some money, because I still had rent to pay, you know, all the expenses for repairs and stuff like that. So worked extra hard to collect some money to buy my own place. After buying it, it took a little while getting used to not having that rent, because it's a different mentality. And now that every single year that I've been living there, my mind has been changing a lot. I value things that I really didn't see before. I wasn't really thinking about these things before. I value free time. I value family more. I value doing stuff that I like. I value doing stuff that does not even make me money. Like, because who cares about money? Like, I mean, money is a resource to pay for things that we buy. You don't really need that much money to be happy. You just need to have enough money to, I guess, pay your rent, mortgage, car payment, whatever, and then food put on your table, your utilities, and that should make you happy. But I think a lot of times when we chase money and we go after making so much of it, because even in expediting and trucking, same thing happens. You're thinking you're gonna make all the money in the world. You're like, you want to stay out the longest, you want to take the longest trips, and you know, to make more money. But then the saying is true, it's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep. Because like I was giving you an example with my dad, he was making so much money and making those $3,700 payments. He thought that was going to continue, that he made all that money. He really made all that money. He would have been considered like really successful person. If I was in that place, I don't know what I would do, but I'm not. I could see what I would do now because I'm not in it, you know. And I've seen, you know, what he went through. by losing his place. But he really did make that money, but he didn't use it in a proper way. He made those really expensive payments, mortgage payments, and he sees that now, that it was such a waste of money. But at the time, he thought, I got this really nice house, it's probably going to appreciate, and I'm probably going to sell it for more than it's worth, you know, stuff like that. Like, it's like an investment. That's what everybody thinks. But then your economy crashed. Economy crashed, and he was not able to afford it because there was less jobs. The jobs were paying less. And this is the kind of things that's beyond our control that we really can't control. That's why you pretty much got to be ready for anything. Like right now, it's right now, like if you listen to the news and you listen to the government, it seems like the economy is improving, the stock market's doing really well, and the housing market is keep rising. But when you look at it deeper, our country is in more debt than it ever was. The jobs are disappearing. Same trends are happening right now when you look at the stock market that happened prior to 2008. So it seems that housing market could crash. We are living in a bubble. Real estate, you know, it could crash again. The economy could crash. The stock market could crash. But it can crash. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. But isn't it better to feel that you're prepared? If it does crashes, you don't have to really worry about that, because if it does crashes and you do have the money, I mean, now you could buy stuff. You could buy properties and stuff. That economy will rise again. Of course, it's going to get back no matter what they say. I know even in 2008 crash, I was getting told by my family members, it's never going to be like that anymore. Like, it's never going to get back to where it was. It's just going to get worse from here on out. And I said, no, it's not. People generally want to do good. It is not their fault that the crash happened, because a lot of these crashes that happened is beyond their controls. There's people that with a lot of money, they're able to control the money. And I'm not going to get into that, but if you do your research, you could kind of see who those people are, and they make crashes happen, and they profit so much after those crashes because they're controlling. It's like a big monopoly board. They're controlling all the properties, everything, and they make a crash happen, and they could just buy up more, and they could just be like more wealthy and stuff. And but it's such a big, it's on the world scale pretty much, you know. But for a general type of person, I think, you know, you just got to be ready for everything. I mean, economy might crash and you might not be able to afford your home. You might not be able to have your job that you have right now. You might lose your job. So what's going to happen then? So isn't it better to be a little bit prepared, you know, to try to, while economy is good right now, to try to profit on the housing market bubble, maybe sell your place, make that money, buy something now for cash with that money, maybe outside your, you know, your city limits. Because technically, even if you are a professional, even if you are working in an office somewhere, I mean, let's say, for instance, you would want to not work there anymore. Maybe you don't like your job. Maybe you just work because you're trying to pay your bills. But if you now sold your home and it appreciated, you made $100,000, a couple $100,000 on it, and you moved to the country and you bought a place for cash, you might even have some money left over, and you might be able to just I don't know, buy some farm animals and stuff like that. Maybe you're gonna be happy with that. I actually seen, I was doing a research a while back before I even buy my place, that some highly educated people, they were like always like in a corporate world and stuff like that. They actually bought farms, and boy, were they happy that they did. And they said, I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. Oh, I should have like bought, you know, like I should have invested a little bit more money into my farm, because they like that peaceful lifestyle. Like they like it, like living after land. And it might not agree with everybody, you know, to try to live like that, because it seems like why? If I could live in a really nice city and I could enjoy this nice city lifestyle. But the thing about it is, economies crash all the time, and your job security might not be as secure as you think. And if it crashes, then you're gonna be broke, and it's not fun. Because I've been broke. It's not fun. It feels completely out of your hands. Then friends and family start thinking that that you're just like not successful, you're disappointed, and they start giving you pointers, and you think that they're right. But then when you climb out of it, you're really seeing that they're the ones that's in debt and losing. Because I see that, because after me not being successful, a lot of my friends, they or friends that I know, or associates, they lost their homes, and they still haven't really moved anywhere further along, if you could consider this like a higher position in life. Like, everybody's like at the same type of level as what they were at. And for the longest part, I could remember that I compared year to year, having hopes for the better. I'm thinking, am I better off this year? Like, did I do something this year that's better than last year? And I'm like, no, I didn't. And that's really disappointing. So I'm thinking, how could I expect a better life next year or 5 years from now if I haven't made those changes? So if you keep doing the same thing over and over, and it producing a certain type of result, but you're hoping for a different result, it's just not going to happen, because you haven't made any changes for that to happen. So then you got to think like, okay, what can I change? So I started changing little things, and the very first thing I changed that probably created a lot of impact, even though a lot of it was just people talking, successful people talking, but it got me thinking. It's just reading books. Just reading books. It's not going to make you rich, but it's going to make you think. And I think that's important, to start thinking again. And I started weighing things out, and I'm thinking, oh, I don't know, like your brain just started thinking, I could do this differently. That's going to save me money. Okay, so I could do that differently. That, before you know, you're like, okay, I got extra money left over. So I started saving, and then you start buying your own place. And now that I do have my own place, it appreciated. And if I wanted to, I could sell it, and I could make easily $100,000, and I could get my investment back of all the money that I put in. So I could probably make $150,000 easy. But my question is, why? Why would I want to sell it? Like, for what? To make more money somewhere else? I'm happy with what I got. Like, I'm not like chasing anything. But here's what's gonna happen. In the next 5 years, of course I don't owe anybody no money. That means everything else that I do from now on, because I'm still working, I'm still doing what I can, I still like to make money. That money is gonna go somewhere, and someone's gonna go into my house. But it also means that because I'm not paying any rent, the next 4 years, let's say I saved $3,700 a month, I'm gonna be the one in 4 years with $180,000 in my pocket, you know, because I didn't have to spend it on nothing. And money is power, you know, knowledge is power. So that means if something does happen to the economy, I'm the one that's gonna be buying homes that's bank foreclosed. You know, if I don't buy it, somebody else will buy it, and I'm going to be looking into that, because why not? I would pick those properties up, flip them, and I would make more money. Is it going to be easier way? I don't know. But real estate has always been the place where people either lost money or made money. So you're either going to make it or you're going to lose. A lot of times when people get into with their own cash in real estate, they're a lot more successful. But if you get in like with banks money and stuff like that, like you know, not using your own money, like borrow money, you could be successful, but if you don't know what you're doing, you could lose that money, and now you owe some people money, you know. So, you know, don't do it unless you know what you're doing. But I can't really lose if I use my money. Even if I make wrong investments, the worst case scenario, my money's stuck. That's it. Like a bunch of cars that I have and vans, my money's just sitting in them. It's kind of stuck at the moment. But even that is making me think. I'm thinking, can I do something with that? Can I make money? How could I make money on that? And I have an answer. My answer is this: if I don't have time to fix everything like right away, there's only so much time. There's only so much time that I do have, right? So if I cannot be working on 12 cars at the same time, that means I have to sell them for parts, because, you know, they're, for the most part, they're not fixed. so I could just sell stuff off, and maybe that's going to create myself another source of income. This is something that I'm still going back and forth on. If I start selling, I create a salvage yard. Do I want a salvage yard here? No. But will it open up my eyes? And by the way, you can see all my vans over there. I just backed up on my property. But will it teach me something? Yes, because most likely what this is going to teach me is that, there's a lot of money coming in from this thing. For instance, right? So I should buy a property for cash to have a junkyard on, for instance. You know, if I do that, then a lot of times junkyards, salvage yards, they become millionaires, those people that own those things. So maybe that's going to be an option. Or I'm going to realize, hey, it really sucks. I should have never started, you know, selling parts. It's not making me any money. So the worst case scenario is just not making me any money. So did I lose anything? No, I already have the car. So like the only thing I'll lose is time, which I'm kind of thinking, even if I start selling car parts and I'm just going to be sitting home, I mean, I don't, like, nothing is, like, I could afford to live on current lifestyle without working that often on a van. I could work like 1 week out of the month or even less, and I could afford my living because there's no mortgage. I just need to get my food, utilities and stuff like that, insurances. So most likely if I start selling stuff, like I could sell cars, I could sell other stuff, and that could show me another source of income that I didn't see before. And while stuff is selling or not selling, I'm at home, I'm enjoying my family, I'm enjoying my property, I'm working on things that I want to work on, I'm making videos that I like to make. So that could be a way for me to do that. But also, what if I make a lot of money from that? That means I could expand my house, I could make it bigger, or I could make real estate investments. But there's real estate investments that I can make with a certain knowledge. It's a little bit, you know, different than investing in cash. Of course, it's a little different system, you know, that I could do. You really don't have to have like that much cash, but it's always nice, you know, because then you're going to be a little bit more control. But if you don't have money, you can always find somebody with money that you find them the deals, and they the ones that pay you money for that deal. So, you know, there's that. But anyways, guys, I'm always thinking, I still like to work. Don't think just because that's the way I'm talking here, somehow I'm lazy and being free means not working at all. No, I'm still working. I'm working more than ever, but it's doing the work that I like to do that makes me happy. And every time I'm doing it, I still question everything. I'm thinking, am I happy doing this? I test myself, and I still like to drive, because driving now, it feels rewarding. Like when I get out to drive more, I'm thinking like, not how much money can I make on the road. I will make money when I get out there, but I'm kind of thinking, nice trees, nice weather, nice scenery, and I'm relaxed. I'm just being relaxed. And when I get home, I'm refreshed, because maybe I was tired by working on my property, because it is labor kind of work, and sitting down, it's really peaceful, and you know, stuff like that. But it is a different way of living. Like, I'll get out there, make some money, come home. Now I have all this extra money, and I don't have to pay anybody nothing. I just pay utilities, food, and everything like that. Which, I don't feel rich, but heck, I feel in control. Like, I feel a lot better. But sad thing about it is there's a lot of uncertainties, and they could still happen, and we still don't know what can happen. So you just got to be prepared. You got to be ready. I think kind of ready, you know, but not really, you know. I hope nothing happens. But thank you guys for watching. Take care of yourself. Hopefully I explain myself a little bit better just using this little example, because not everybody could simply just go out there and buy a house and change their lifestyle up. But you can if you want to. If you want to sell your current situation and buy something for cash, that means you don't have to work anymore with your 9-to-5 job if you don't want to. Because maybe you don't want to work in that. You're just working it to pay your bills. But maybe it's more important to you to have freedom. So that's where compromise comes in, and you get to really learn what's important. And maybe it's important to just have a life, because it's short. I mean, it's one thing that if we would live forever, then you're thinking, okay, this first 100 years, I'm just going to work my butt off. The next 100 years, I'll just enjoy myself. or for the next 1,000 years, right? But unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that. So this is another thing, and another thing is spiritual, being closer to God, and that really matters. You know, that's another thing that would make you happy, to be satisfied, because, and to be giving, because you can't be selfish, because living a selfish life, it's not rewarding. You have to be able to give something to somebody, you know. So that's another thing. That's still something that I'm trying to learn, you know. I'm still thinking about these things. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Take care of yourself. God bless you. My name is Serge Zimaleta. I'm 37 years old. And yes, I experienced success after buying my first home for cash. Back in 2011, I was broke, but I learned to solve problems on my own. Now, I'm helping others to solve their problems. I know what pitfalls to avoid to stay profitable in business. Need motivation to be more successful in your life? Do you have sprint or expedite or business problems? Then subscribe. Let's find creative solutions to your problems. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my helpful videos.